Is everyone here? You've got to change my way.
Ready?
No, because the people there will come through.
He is here.
Alright then. Ready? Right then, I don't speak too much in public, you're about to stand out wide. First, let me start by inviting all of you here to raise your glasses to Jennifer and wish them congratulations on their wedding day. Congratulations! I should actually leave the toast as well.
Yeah, you should, yeah.
Have you got your... I'm generally wearing white there, but I'm sure I would have said that's nice for your white wedding. Now it's traditional on the application for the best man to say a few words about the journey the groom has taken me here. You know, amusing anecdotes about his misadventures and any hilariously unsuccessful lessons in love suffered along the way. What?
Yeah, slow down and speak up.
I'm not speaking loud, I'll be shouting.
Shouting.
Today is no exception. My favourite misadventure that springs to mind that we like to recall was one evening back in the 90s, soon after full-time work at London School of English. We used to help organise events for the students, including going to the Dogs at Wimbledon. He suggested we go. So I agreed. We arranged to go on an evening. I travelled down to Leeds, especially for the events. Someone said I should have something you haven't heard about. I rushed from King's Cross to see my family, I walked down my dinner and I rushed back to meet Paul at Earls Court Tube Station. This is the days before mobile phones. You said you were going to be somewhere at a time, you had to be there. So we met up, we got the tube to Wimbledon Park, and we walked a mile or so in the hot evening sun to the Dog Stadium. It was shut. Paul hadn't checked the opening times, which had changed in the weeks since he went there the week before. Typical. Make sure you check the opening times of any place you go. A further piece of entertainment ensued in Barcelona, the first time me and Paul went there. I was trying to get Paul to speak in some Spanish. You know, you're in Spain, you might as well speak a little bit of Spanish. Paul decided that he'd ordered 2 Irish coffees and asked me how to say it. Dos cafés irlandes. Por favor, I explained. Paul nodded and caught the eye of the Barcelona barista. 2 Irish coffees, said Paul in a clear Hammersmith accent. The barista looked at me, as did the bar. Dos cafés irlandes, por favor. I tried, but he didn't understand, as my accent had drifted into Cockney by the attention. The clientele in the bar knew clearly what we wanted to order. Well, they knew we were ordering something from the menu. They didn't have a clue what the hell we were ordering. And so trying to work out what we were saying. 10 seconds, which seemed a year later, another guy said, "Eh, dos cafés irlandes, por favor." We got our coffee. Later, on the last night of the holiday, Paul decided he wanted a bag of crisps and asked how to say it again in Spanish. I explained there were basically 2 options. Una paqueta de patatas fritas and una paqueta de patatas redondas. Paul weighed this up and remembered that a previous effort of mine had got him a plate of chips without ketchup. He caught the eye of the barman. Pep? Packet of crisps, Paul pointed helpfully. The barman shrugged his shoulders and looked at me as I had successfully ordered wine earlier. ¿Qué? Una paqueta de patatas redondas. Paul got his crisps. Language is not a strong point, Now, we returned to Barcelona a second time along with Pat, who's down here tonight, and Nicky Boy, who sadly can't be here. I asked Nick just yesterday what he remembered of the holiday, and he remembered Paul trying to sleep in the baby cot that we had in the room. We had an apartment with 4 bedrooms and included space for children. And Paul bounced up and down in the cot and rattling on the rattles. Paul said at the time, it was well comfy. This was also the holiday of the Hitler Moustache Day and the woman of the unfeasibly large lips. Also, me, Pat and Paul got to lift the European Cup at the Nou Camp Stadium. But ultimately, it was the battle of the cheesy Eurotrash that marked this holiday as an awesome holiday. The four of us had a budget of €5 to buy the most splendidly awful piece of Eurotat we could find in the city of Barcelona. We would then vote on it, and the winner, or more accurately, the loser, would keep all 4 pieces of crap. My cheesy Senorita Bridge magnet was the early leader. It was soon overtaken by Nicky's Black Madonna in a cheesy shell, and the 2 outstanding candidates. A truly horrific t-shirt that Pat found, which was rivaled for tasteless only by Paul's former t-shirt of a wet thing. Paul loved that t-shirt until I told him what the pattern said, and then he never wore it again in my presence. Pat won or lost the challenge, but following the vote, we looked at Paul's clock more closely. Not only was it hideously and garishly placed on a cross between Gaudi's gorgeous, so very familiar, the big cathedral in Spain, and incredibly ugly La Pedrera in Quarry, but also the clock didn't work. The batteries had died. What's more, the moulded plastic effectively sealed the batteries in, so you couldn't change the battery compartment if you wanted to. To get the clock to work, you would have to break the flaming thing. You still got that clock, Pat?
Yeah, I forgot to bring it. Sorry.
No. It wasn't even made in bloody Spain either. It was truly the most awesome piece of terrible Eurotat I've ever seen. And Paul only laughed because the horror of what he had bought was too immense for our tiny little minds that evening. Don't Jen, don't let him buy anything to go in the house like clocks. Oh dear. Paul Stagley was in New York last week, and it's getting to the end now. However, this wasn't Paul's first trip to York. The first time, Pat, Simon, who's not here tonight, and I drove Paul to York. And Paul ate, and ate, and ate, and when he wasn't eating, he was snacking. We returned to Leeds for a curry and headed to Pat's house for some computer game action as boys do. Gradually, Paul went quiet. Something was brewing. A very strange brew indeed. Pat asked him if he was alright. Yes. 7 seconds later, Paul piped up, "I don't feel." But it was more than a feeling. Paul chucked up all over Pat's floor. But Pat was living in the bedsit at the time, and he had no respite from the smell when he slept, and was forced to try out the Indian shaken back because he had no real shaken back of his own. The Indian shaken back being whatever spices he could find to cover up the awful whiff. Didn't work, did it, Pat? So, anyway, last week, after many 3-star hip-hop battles and close encounters of the Hip Blast with Doom, which are all available on YouTube, history repeated itself as Paul chundered like a trooper. For reference, a Hip Blast with Doom is made of bison grass vodka, Southern Comfort, Chartreuse, Jägermeister, limoncello, gin and blackjack sweets. Which in turn probably brings us to how Paul got here today. Paul's early successes with the ladies were based on his job with the students at school when he was at the same age as them. This had the advantage that they invariably buggered off home at the end of their courses and never came back. This was by and by good for Paul and forced him to expand his horizons. I mean, he went to Italy, he went to China, and he went pretty much all over the place. In turn, this led to Paul to look for something more lasting than just a flash in the pan and really search for that someone special who he could connect with at a deeper level. Finally, Paul found that someone special in Jen, and to a lot of people here today, myself and Paul's friends here included, Jen is so special indeed. I would ask you to stand, or at least a toast, Jen. Now. Oh, just Jen. Just Jen. Jen! Not Paul, just Jen. Now that you've sat down, I'd like for you to ask you to stand again to toast Paul.
Finished.
Oh, and finally, stand again to toast a happy couple on the celebration of their marriage on a lovely Friday afternoon in Hammersmith. Well done, guys.
Yes, please, mate.
You?
Yeah. The other guys can get one.
What happened?
They're drinking non-alcoholic lager because they're not drinking.